That's not like a Wayne's World thing.
No,
that's
like
literally
actual.
everything starts that way.
I know it is.
Okay, so we're gonna go around the table, and I have something to say about our missing host today. On my left, we start with
Andrew,
Mitch,
Brandon,
Tess.
and I'm Jake, and I have sad, truly tragic news for everybody, and even our listeners. You will notice that Ian is not here today. That's because
What?
I got news. News.
do the names again. There's no Ian.
No, I know,
You
right?
didn't say Ian?
No, it's okay. It's
on,
very
on
sad.
my left is Mitch.
Hi.
not
Instead of
Ian.
Ian.
I'll do my best impression. Hey.
So it's very tragic news that I got about 2.5 hours ago. I received a text saying that Ian was involved in a horrific botched hysterectomy.
I know it.
Oh.
He'd been talking about it for months now.
And it was caught. He had to get a hysterectomy because he got his tampon stuck up in his vagina, and he just couldn't get it out. So they had to surgically remove it, and so he is gone.
He's in recovery.
Never coming back.
He's in permanent recovery.
He is.
He is not coming back.
No, he's just.
He will never be able to speak again,
He'll be here.
which understandably makes him
He'll be
pretty
here.
useless for
Yeah.
podcasting.
No, he'll be here probably next week or the week after. I just want to make a huge vagina joke.
In the future, we should just, even if he's not here, just say he is here and just say he's feeling like quiet today.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
Ian's here, but Ian's just feeling.
He's
really
feeling down.
He's playing Pokemon before.
Exactly.
He's
But
nodding.
that's what Andrew
though.
wants to
He's
do right
nodding,
now.
yeah.
I was telling them before you got here. I was actually really excited to have Ian here tonight because I haven't seen him in a couple days anyway, and I've played like 30 hours of Pokemon this weekend. And
Andrew, it's been out for like 3 days.
yeah, exactly. And he's the only other person I know who's been playing it, so like we could at least talk about it on the show a little bit. And but now I'm just going to be like talking to nobody in particular about how awesome Pokemon is. So
I mean, I know about.
I can still do it. I just feel like a dialogue makes it a little better.
Right.
So,
A little bit of banter back and forth.
but that's fine.
If you wait,
I will get to Pokemon.
If you wait until this Jameson's about half more gone, then I can probably hold a conversation about Pokemon with you.
He will know more at the end of that ball.
I will know more when
I don't
this
think you
bottle
can
is
hold
empty.
a conversation about anything by that point.
You've seen me super drunk.
I have.
Yeah.
Which leads me to believe
But-
my statement is quite true.
No, there's been 2 times where I haven't been able to hold my own, and that was the night where I had the Caribou Lou, and then the night that was Mark and Kelsey's going away party.
Oh, yeah.
And both times, I have removed myself from the situation because I know better.
May I begin this program with a plug?
No,
I have a plug.
we don't
Yeah.
plug things
I
on
want
this
to. I
show.
want to plug something.
God,
I want to plug something far greater than we.
well,
And that will allow our
that hurts.
absolutely minimal reach to improve their numbers ever so slightly.
We
So I'm
love
gonna do
each
it.
and every
you can
one
only
of
plug it if you subsequently contact the thing you're plugging and be like, "Hey, we mentioned you on this podcast. Can you share it?"
I mean, I can tell.
Because
them,
that's how it works. That's
I
how we
mean-
get
I
more
mean,
numbers.
I don't know if the scope will reach.
No,
Okay,
there's
it is.
no-
So
anyway,
go ahead.
Anyway, there's this rad fucking band called Framing Hanley.
Yeah.
I'm at least a casual acquaintance of their lead singer, who's a really cool guy, and they just pushed their new album back. It was supposed to be released October 22nd, I believe, which would have been next week. But they've had some problems putting the record together, yada yada. They pushed it back. I don't know if they have a release date right now. Their last record, to clarify, was one of my favorite albums the year it came out. So they're a very talented band. I'm pretty excited about the new stuff.
That was the one with their lollipop cover, right?
No, that was the one before that.
Shows how much I listen to this band.
They also do a bitchin' cover of Lil Wayne's Lollipop that they'd probably kill me that it's continuing to get mentioned.
I'd much rather have it die.
He fucking hates playing it. But anyway, that's beside the point. Anyway, because they had to push their album back again, and it was a Kickstarter-funded album, so there's like a lot of people invested in its release and all this stuff. They did this week release 3 brand new songs that were going to be like B-sides to the album for free on their website. So if you want to hear some super cool music from a super talented band, framinghanley.com is their website. You can download 3 brand spanking new songs that I can assure you are all very, very good. Crooked Smiles, Walt and the Wolves, and I don't remember the third one. But the second one is legitimately a song about Breaking Bad.
Whoa.
Walt and the Wolves, yeah. But no, it's a very
What
very
kind
good.
of band?
They're just a pretty straightforward rock band. They've got some influences from kind of all over the board, but it's mostly your straightforward rock music. But they're a pretty talented group, and the 3 new songs are very, very good. So nothing to lose by downloading free music. Just go to framinghandling.com, download 3 new songs, and if you like it, like their Facebook page, yada yada, follow it for news of their new album, which I can almost assure you will be dynamite.
You should. How often do they tour?
I don't know how often they do, but they're probably touring now-ish.
Okay, well, if
Just
they
work their new
get
album.
anywhere goddamn near us, you should be like, hey, Kenneth Nixon. That's not his name.
No, that is his name.
Is his name? Okay. I know his last name's Nixon. You should be like, hey, buddy, you want to come get drunk in a basement with me and my friends? Because,
I don't know how responsive he'd be to such a thing, but
It's
I've been telling them to come to Springfield for a while.
Yeah.
Now, so if he ever actually listens to me, if nothing else, we can all go to
Tell
the
him
show
I will
and
get
get a
him-
drink with them because I've
Yeah.
met him
That'd be
before
awesome.
at one of his shows.
Tell him that I will personally buy him a bottle of his favorite liquor if he comes on the show. I don't care how expensive it is, as long as it's not like $8,000.
I'll try and transfer that.
We do that every
I'm not
podcast.
even
How
joking.
come we don't get
That's fair. Because you guys are my friends.
Yeah.
And you just like doing this.
I actually wanted to real quick ask while we're talking about music, how is the month of October going?
It's going super mixed.
He's posted a new
It is
review
now
today, in
the 15th, and I still have yet to miss a review.
Excellent.
He's been halfway.
I was late on one. The one before today's, my Day to Remember review, was a day late. And that is partially because I usually post the reviews at like 1 in the morning.
Okay.
But the night I would have posted that review, I had gotten about 4 hours of sleep the night before, and just staying awake until 10 o'clock was a struggle. So I got to like 10:30, and I was like, I'm not going to stay up long enough to do this. I could type out the review now in my drunkenly sleep-deprived stupor and post it, and that's probably a bad idea. Or I could just go to sleep now and post it when I wake up before the games start, because if I go to bed at like 10:30, I'm going to be awake at like fucking 8 in the morning probably.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I go to bed at 11, and I wake up at like 11:45 the next day.
Yes.
15 minutes before the football game start. I'm like, well, I'm not going to fucking type it now because I got to watch the Packers game because I am a diehard Packers fan.
They are.
So I watch the Packers game, and then I have to go to work, and then I come back, and it's all like, oh, yeah, stuff comes up, whatever. And so I didn't get around to posting the review until the next day for whatever reason. But I did get it up,
Nice.
so I'm still on track to have 16
So
reviews.
what
in
you're
31
telling
days.
me is you failed your fans.
I didn't fail
That's what
anyone.
I'm taking away.
And in fact, if I failed in a brilliant way because that review has gotten me more hits on the blog than any review I've done yet.
Nice.
It actually, if you search A Day to Remember Common Courtesy, which is the name of their new album, I'm on the front page of the search results. That's on Bing, granted. I don't know about Google.
So,
but-
Andrew, last time you told me you were getting, like, how many unique visitors a day?
not a ton, but I think
Like, whenever you post, well, maybe, like, whenever you post.
I think every day I put a review up, I get about 35 to 40 hits.
That's
Okay.
really, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's not bad.
That's kind of a big deal.
It's
That's
pretty good, and I don't
a
know how
day.
many of them are like the same people over and over again. But
That's not the
if
point.
nothing else, I'm at least getting traffic, and it means people are clicking the links that I put up. All I do is like I'm not even spamming the whole internet with them. I just post it on the Facebook page that I've got set up, share it to my own Facebook page, and then I post a link to it on this rock message board I go to, TuneLab.
You do literally the exact same thing with your website that I do with this podcast.
Probably.
Except for the posting to websites.
I was about to
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You should
because
Well, see,
I need to send you a couple websites to
Do
link
it.
also on the page. Yeah. So.
So, but no, everything's going super. I just posted a review today for a kick-ass female-fronted electro pop rock band called Icon for Hire.
That's not Grenadina.
It's not Grenadina.
You're absolutely.
I look for ways to plug them because I love them to death.
I just posted a review for that. I posted a review for the brand new A Day to Remember album that I just mentioned, which
Nice.
came out last Tuesday. So the new Dance Gavin Dance album I reviewed. The best part is I'm starting to get like new releases out there. So
Nice.
that's when you get most of your hits. Is when you get like timely shit out there. Like I reviewed Paramore's album. I think like the second week of October, but that came out in like May, so no one's searching that anymore.
Right.
They're like they got that
Fair
out of their
enough.
system. But it's like again, my Day to Remember review is the most hits I've gotten on a review yet, and that's because that album literally just came out and people are looking for info and stuff on it. So
Nice.
Is there a specific genre that you're looking, like, did you review music from?
It's-
Or is it's just kind of a free-for-all, like, oh, this album's coming out, I'm going to review it?
it's all rock music, but
Rock
I understand
music,
that's
yeah,
a
makes
very
sense. Yeah, right.
a very
Large
large umbrella.
There's like
Um,
alternative rock, indie rock, folk rock, punk rock.
Yeah,
It's
well,
not
yeah.
even getting into the subgenres.
Right.
Well, yeah, and you couldn't
That's
get a
just
lot more
very-
different than some of the reviews I've got up there right now. I mean, like, I reviewed. Dance Gavin Dance is a great example. I reviewed their new album last week, and they're kind of they're a post-hardcore band with a lot of screaming and really technical instrumentation and all this stuff. But then 2 days earlier, I reviewed Paramore, who's this pretty down-to-earth, just mellow pop rock female-fronted music trio. So it's like totally different worlds. It's all stuff that I'm into. So it's, don't expect me to like.
So it's something you actually want to listen to, as opposed to being like, oh, and now I have to listen to this.
Or sometimes it's stuff that I listened to and hated so much that I felt the need to review it. But yeah, for the most part, I mean, it's all kind of under the same umbrella. But I'm always willing to give like shit a try that I haven't heard before. I'm not into a lot of folksy stuff right now, or like blues rock or whatever.
Right.
But I'm always looking to expand. The last couple of years alone, I've spent so much time listening to albums that I never would have given a chance 10 years ago.
That's cool.
That I mean, not to toot my own horn, but I just feel like I've come so far musically in the last couple of years anyway. Like I finally started getting into hip hop a couple of years ago. I'm developing an open mind for electronic music.
Yeah, you are.
When I was 16 or 17, I wouldn't touch anything that had like screaming in it because that was really off-putting to me. Mm-hmm. And now almost all year long, all the shit I've been listening to has rough vocals, not like death metal vocals, like "Bury 'Em Alive" that we had. Yeah. That's still too rough for me, and I not to off-put people who do listen to that, but. So most of my favorite records this year have had, good dosages of that rough vocals. So, I mean, I've come a long way just in that alone. And if nothing else, I'm proud of that. And the blog gives me a reason to keep, like, I'm trying to put it into words. But basically, to evaluate music at more than just, like, listening to this and be like, that's fun, and then just setting my headphones down. It forces me to like kind of think about what I'm listening to and like why do I like this? Mm-hmm. Why is this appealing to me? And then kind of put it into words. So I guess the whole point of this podcast at times is to like see how our works are making us better people. There we go.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's nice.
That's cool.
I've become a changed man.
Good.
Ooh.
That's cool.
Well, good. So I got something that you, Jake, will probably enjoy. So
I love things.
A couple months ago, me and Jake went to Arkansas to visit our friend Chris.
Mr. Misremember.
And I'm Mr. And we basically spent the whole couple days we were there just exploring the very many breweries around Arkansas.
Wait, was this when I got this super shitty wine?
Yes, it is.
Out of a crazy straw. Okay, yeah.
That's why
I remember
it didn't happen.
Yeah.
To give a heads up, this was a glorious moment where we went to, I think they're called Macadoodles, which is essentially like their main beer.
Yeah, we have those in
booze
Springfield.
place. Yes, we have a couple in Springfield. And Jake gives me and Chris his card and says, "Buy me the cheapest, shittiest wine."
That's actually a direct quote.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
So
I just gave them my debit card.
So we walked into the place, and they have a huge wine selection, like 2 floors. Like they have, and this very properly dressed man stands up and he walks over to us. He's like, "How can I help you, gentlemen, today?" And Chris, in his glory, just goes, "We are on a quest, good sir."
That's awesome.
I didn't know he said
yes. And he goes, "Our friend has requested the cheapest, worst tasting wine you can imagine." And the man looks at us and goes, "I got just the thing."
It's a movie. Oh my god.
He walked us over to this one shelf and he just goes, "All right, first of all, there are these. They are very brightly colored. I forgot the name of them." And he just goes, "And they are very delicious and you won't feel it until the next morning when you have a hammer. It feels like hitting your head." We're like, "Okay." And then he goes, "This is the other thing." And he pulls out this jug.
It looks like a moonshine jug.
Yes.
Like a big ass
It's
moonshine jug.
huge. And it was that kind of rustic auburn red color. And I don't remember what it was called. I just remember it was something Irish something.
I
remember?
It was Irish sweet red wine.
Wow.
I don't know what the actual name brand of it was though.
So sweet had nothing to do with it.
No, it didn't.
He brings it up
Sweet
to
is
us.
Not sweet.
He brings it up to us. He goes, "This one will taste like an old gym sock."
Oh,
And we looked at him and said, "That will be the one, good sir." And he just looks at us. He goes, "You kids, just be careful. Like, we will. It's not for us."
We make no statements as per
He
him.
just goes, "Ah." So the tales of his adventure, I've told my parents, and they've been wanting to get out of town, and they're like, "That actually sounds like a lot of fun." So they've been I've been missing them. They've been missing me, and they're like, we just need to get out of town for like a day. So they're like, can we go to Arkansas over the weekend and go to many breweries? And I said, absolutely, Mom and Dad.
I will take you there.
So we ended up hitting quite a couple that we went to. We went to the one that was in the barn.
Oh yeah, with the farmhouse ale that
Yeah.
was very
The
much
coolest
a farmhouse ale.
The coolest one we went to was Core. It was the house one that had a banana bread beer.
Oh, so good.
So this place has moved to the house that they owned prior.
oh wait, they moved.
It's still right there, but
Oh, okay.
like they just moved a house over.
Okay.
So now they have a much bigger area. They now have darts. They have like a pinball machine. The best part is they have a room specifically for just getting drunk and watching the game. There's just a room of couches and chairs.
I
and
think
a
we
big
call that
TV.
a bar.
Yeah, Rich, you've discovered a
Oh,
bar.
no.
That's what it is.
Recliners, like
Oh my god.
fancy, comfortable, like.
So what
So
you're
it's a
describing-
fancy bar.
Yeah.
What you're describing to me sounds an awful lot like a cigar bar, but instead
Yes,
of cigars,
it's more like a
it's
cigar bar.
booze.
Yes,
A
it's with
cigar
their
bar.
it's
No.
their crazy chalk drawings everywhere.
I guess
on
there's
the
a reason
walls,
no
and
one's
it was
ever
awesome.
called it that.
Yeah.
Cigar. Hey, that might be something.
A
Cigar.
cigar?
I don't know.
Don't encourage him.
No, encourage me. This is good.
It makes him think that he's funny.
Breeding ground for creativity here.
Unrelated, Sahar is desert in Arabic.
Now everybody learned a word.
Yes.
Things you know.
Word of the day.
Our podcast got
The
education.
more-
I have a question.
You can tag us as
before-
educational now.
Oh my god, you're right. I have a
Kids
question
will listen.
before we can. Oh god.
Okay.
Before you continue, Brandon, why do you know Arabic?
I
Yeah.
don't.
How do you know the word?
Ponies.
Oh,
love it.
okay. You learned
I
it,
love it.
from My Little Pony.
Yes.
It's best not to explain, I think.
It was a remix of a song that's a fan song of the show about
Ponies?
Ponies.
about ponies. So
Oh.
yes, it's My Little Pony.
Well, I mean, at least he's getting
It's a good
something
song.
from the
This
show.
is true.
It was a
It's-
rap song. It was good.
Nice. So anyway, the one thing that you'll enjoy
Educational.
was we ended up meeting up with a friend of mine who goes to college down there, and he took us to a couple other ones. And I can't remember the title of this one, but he goes, "Oh, that place is really cool for shots." And we're like, "All right, how's it cool like for Trops?" And he goes, they actually make their shot glasses like out of an ice mold.
Oh, that's
Oh.
rad.
So the best part is they have the floor all set up, so whenever you do a shot, you just throw it on the floor, and it shatters.
That's fucking
And they just-
awesome.
And they have it's kind of like the floor here. Like
Yeah.
all they do is occasionally
sweep
like
it up.
just
Yeah.
mop
Put out
the
a few
floor.
wet floor signs.
That's
just,
about it.
That is
yeah.
the most
That's
incredible thing I've
awesome.
ever
Oh
heard.
my
That's
God.
cool.
And then they have like a beer pong table made specifically for shots, and I'm like, that's the best thing I've ever heard.
holy shit, I want to go.
So I got
so
to take a
fantastic.
I
shot
want
and
to
then
go to there.
shatter the shot glass, and it feels very good.
Yeah.
It's such like a novelty thing, but I would go there all the time simply for that.
It's a great idea.
That is a good
You
idea.
just feel like you were like channeling Thor.
Kinda like another.
That's really cool.
The only other one that was worth mentioning was it was kind of like our barcade.
Oh.
Okay.
It's a bit bigger, and this is a small thing, but I think it was the coolest thing. They have several, I guess, versions of Jenga, but instead of like the small pieces, they're like 2x4s.
What?
So you use it's like life-size Jenga?
Essentially,
That's the goddamn
bigger than
best.
life size.
Oh my god, I want it.
it was cool, and so naturally, many people had played before, so every single like brick had
Like chips and shit in it.
It had chips and it had like crazy like bar graffiti in it.
That's
Like I
so
pulled one out and I
cool.
looked at it and just said, "Dicks."
College.
I love graffiti.
It's not
like
funny
that.
because it says dicks. It's funny because it says dicks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And
Yeah.
it was like the haha was written like very small, like off to the side.
Was it like? Oh, okay.
like one of those little things, but like
Yeah.
dicks.
I have a non sequitur story that kind of goes with that.
Let's
It's
do it.
at the end of July I went to Kansas City for the first time. I've never been there. I've never been. I know
It's
like
pretty
crazy.
rad.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I went and saw some improv up there. There's
They got some good stuff.
they really do. There's a group up there called After School Special, and they are just
I think you talked about them last time.
oh, they're so good.
I think she's actually talked about them every time she's been on here.
Yeah, probably wouldn't surprise
Just
me.
like
Are they
myself.
your
good.
favorite improv group?
Yes.
Name dropped.
Yes.
They're like Grenadina to you. It's like
Yeah.
she just
Yes.
can't say it enough.
Can't not do it.
Yeah, they're great, and I saw them up there, and But one of the things on the way back was we stopped at some truck stop in between Kansas City and Springfield, and I go to the bathroom in one, and I had to take a picture of it. It said, "I heart rocks" on the bathroom wall, and then next to it said, "No one fucking cares." And I just was like, that's so funny. I was like, I want to write the in between, hey, let's be nice, everyone, or something like nice.
All right.
I had a pet rock in school once.
Demoralizing graffiti is such a great idea. Just
I love when people respond to graffiti too, because
That's
it's
great.
like, do you really think they're gonna come back here and
Oh
be
my
like,
God, yeah.
this fucking guy? But then I've seen it once in my entire life where it happened. It was
Oh.
one person wrote this shitty poem. It was it wasn't even funny. It was supposed to be really deep, and it was just bad. And it was on the inside of a bathroom stall, and someone wrote in different handwriting next to it that was fucking terrible. And then below that, in the same handwriting as the poem, was hey man, you don't gotta be mean about it.
That's great.
It
That's
was
not
the
even
best.
hostile. He's not even pissed. He's just no, don't.
It's bro, I understand
Your criticism makes me sad.
Yeah.
No, was it written or carved?
It was all written.
No.
The poem and the response to
Yeah.
the first comment
Yeah.
were written in Sharpie, and then the first comment was written in green.
Screwdriver.
See,
something.
Got it.
see, I don't know if you're aware of this, but we have Sharpies now. We have
We do.
pens. We don't really need to carve things.
No, I'm not up for the carver thing.
Okay.
I've just been in very shitty bathrooms.
Oh, okay, okay.
So
You've been
public
in
restrooms.
Public restrooms.
Yeah.
Speaking
Yes.
of carvings, today at work, I went into our bathroom,
Oh, yeah.
And there it was.
and there it was written on the
penis
side of
rocket
the
ship.
stall next to the urinal, because we have a divider on this side and
Yeah.
the stalls on the left, and on the wall, the stall wall, carved in were the words "NWO for life."
Okay.
And it wasn't there the last time I was in the bathroom, which was last week. So someone is a grown-ass man referencing a 14-year-old wrestling storyline.
Professional wrestling faction of the late 90s,
Yeah.
primarily found in WCW, but later transferred to the WWE for a brief storyline.
Very brief storyline.
That's awesome.
Andrew, wrestling historian over here.
And I just
Spent way too
I
much.
have to
I've
wonder
wasted too much of my life on that shit, man.
I have to wonder how strongly must they feel if still they're kicking for this
that?
defunct organization to come back and take over professional
Well,
wrestling.
man, they said for life. I mean, they're in it for the long haul. They're going to be doing that graffiti for the rest of their existence.
Yeah.
Every bathroom they go into, NWO for
I
life.
want to meet them and stop them.
Gonna bring it back.
There are better things you
I
can
saw
do.
a grown-ass man on campus the other day wearing a John Cena shirt. And I was like,
Wow.
that's interesting.
I just have always loved that.
I thought they only
expression.
made those in kids' sizes.
Well, I mean, a kid's size is an adult size for those shirts. They're
I always feel
fucking
really awkward though, seeing the 4-year-olds walking around with John Cena being like,
You
"Oh,
can't
it's
see
like,
me."
Do you even know who that is, kid? They're
No.
like, "Oh, he's
Tell
the
your
muscle
parents to stop forcing their beliefs on you.
You're
Grow up-
better than this.
Grow up and watch CM Punk like a man.
Go watch the pipe bomb video. Change your life. Okay, so I'm gonna change gears here. Okay, so yesterday was it yesterday?
Get away from professional wrestling. We're losing
Yeah,
listeners. by the
exactly.
second.
They're turning it off.
I've already stopped.
Brett is sitting there just man, I wish I wasn't here right now.
man." He was
No,
live
it was-
streaming this, and now he's just left.
So yesterday, yesterday after work, I go over to Sonya's house to get my shit so I can come back over here.
Shout out to Sonya.
Shout out to Sonya who doesn't listen to the podcast.
Shout out to Sonya's
Um,
mom.
she would know how to listen to the podcast. She's not
What
technologically
am I
adept.
hearing?
I can just see her throwing that back in your face.
Yeah, she's
hey,
like,
I figured it out. How?
I fucking listened to it, dick. So anyway, I get to Sonya's house and I open the door and she's sitting on the couch with Dave. And she looks at me and she's like, so I have a question. And I was like, okay, shoot.
Good start.
And she says, hypothetically,
Oh God.
what would
would you
you
do for a
think
Klondike bar?
if we got a kitten? And I was like,
Oh.
well,
I
you're
saw those
yeah.
pictures.
Spoiler alert.
God, you're ruining
Oh,
my
that
story.
that you sent me.
Fair
They
enough.
were
That
cool.
are in
They
no
were
way
cool.
related to
Oh.
this story.
So okay, so she says that, and I'm like, well, I mean, your pet deposit's like $200. Neither of us really have that right now, but I mean, if you if we split the cost and we save up for a couple weeks, we'd probably do it. Get it its shots, get it declawed, get it spayed, all that shit. And she's like, yeah, we could, couldn't we? And I was like, yeah, probably. I mean, and she's like, but you'd be okay with it? And I was like, yeah, why not? I like cats. I really like cats. And so I go to move past her, and she's like, so I already have a cat. And I was like, how did you get the money to buy a cat? And she's like, well, I didn't buy a cat. And my first thought was, holy shit, she stole a cat. and I'm like, what did you do? And she's like, okay, well, you know my crazy cat lady neighbor? Because she does. She lives in a duplex that is right across from another duplex, and they face each other.
Right.
So she's on the left side of hers, and across the way on the catty corner to hers, to her
Catty
corner.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to do that. So catty corner to her house is the crazy cat lady's house. This woman has 15 to 20 fucking cats.
Oh,
Get back here, meow.
And so we're pretty sure she doesn't fucking take care of any of them. She just puts out big bowls of food and water.
Does she throw them around like the crazy cat?
No. I've never seen this woman's door open, nor have I ever seen her or anybody else coming out of her house. But she has in her window a window air conditioning unit, and next to the window is about maybe an 8-inch gap. And the cats like to go out through that window and come back in, so they're indoor-outdoor cats.
Is there a flap, or is it just a hole?
It's just a hole. It's just a hole. If you go over there, you can see into her kitchen, and it's a messy-ass kitchen.
Well, 20 cats.
Yeah, exactly. So the cats will oftentimes, like I said, jump in, jump out, whatever. So sometimes you'll come home, and there'll be 10 cats just in this yard, just chilling, laying down in the sun, and be like, what's up, cats? And they all look at you and watch you go into the house, and it feels really creepy. Mm-hmm. But, so what she thinks happened is that 2 of the cats boned and had a litter. And one of the kittens managed somehow to get up high enough inside to jump out of that crack. And they jumped down, but it's a good 4.5, 5 foot drop. Oh. So they got out, but then they couldn't jump back in because she's really little.
Gotcha.
Barely able to be away from her mom little.
I've seen tiny kids.
They're cute.
Yeah,
They're
and they're
so
fucking,
little.
she literally, I can hold her in my palm.
Oh.
It's adorable.
Yeah.
I had one snap in my elbow.
Oh my god, it feels so good.
It was adorable.
Yeah.
I once had pilot kittens sleeping on my lap, and it's just
So
so
cute.
I have to go to the bathroom.
I don't care. I was outside. I was getting
So-
eaten by mosquitoes. I'm don't care.
Whatever,
Awesome.
don't care. Anyway, so she tells me she has this cat, and I'm like, okay, I guess, all right. And I was like, so show me the kitty. And she had it outside in a box with a blanket wrapped around it because it was covered in fleas, so many of them, and it has a feline upper respiratory infection, which isn't fatal if they only get it once. The problem is that if they're with a bunch of cats, the cats keep spreading it to one another, so they'll lose it, get it, lose it, get it, and that rapid change in that is what kills them.
Develops into cat AIDS.
Yeah, basically. So she put her in a box, and we went and we got a litter box, a food dish, and some cat litter, and we brought her in, and the first thing she does is she takes her out of the box, and she unwraps her, and it is the cutest fucking cat I've ever seen in my entire life. And I'm like, can I hold her? And she's like, yeah. And so I take her, and she's so little that she doesn't give a shit if she's on her back.
Yeah.
Yet. So I grab her, and I'm just holding her in my hands, my hands are cupped, and she's on her back, and her feet are up in the air. And she's got those tiny cat eyes that are always, half closed with their second eyelid. And she, opens them, and she looks at me, and she goes, meow. And I'm like, oh, God! And my heart just melted right then. And Sonia's like, Jake, give her back. I have to give her a flea bath. And I'm like, no, I don't want to.
I'm never letting go.
She's little. Is she able to eat food? Cat
Yeah,
food? Oh, okay.
she's able to eat food. She purrs, but it's really weak. So she's probably just started purring. And she can't really do it unless what we've been doing. She's gonna take her to the vet tomorrow to
I have to
get
get a fucking
the
cat.
thing looked at. But the only way to get her to breathe properly is she has her in the bathroom, so she'll run the shower hot to get the air moist, so it clears up all of her.
Moisturizer.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay.
So it clears her up, and whenever she can't purr whenever her shit's clogged, but whenever it's cleared up, she's constantly purring. I had to stop over there to give Sonia money for the vet tomorrow, and the first thing I do is I walk in, and she's got this little bowl. She's in this big mixing bowl with a blanket in it, and she's just made it her home. And I open the door, and she sits up, and she just stares at me, and I go over and I'm like, hi, kitty, because she doesn't have a name yet.
Oh, okay.
Or, well, for me, she doesn't have a name yet. But I go over and I'm like, hi, kitty, and I start petting her head, and she's like, "Prrr," and she rubs it against my finger, and I did not want to leave. I was almost late for this podcast because I wanted to have this cat.
Oh.
So you said it doesn't have a name for you.
Sonya wants to name it Hermione.
Seconded.
Boo. The correct answer is Charlie, and then I can get a Then I can get a sloth, and I'll name the sloth Socks.
I mean, I'm
And
literally
it'll be
wearing a
Charlie
Harry
and
Potter
Socks.
shirt right
I
now.
don't
so
care.
You are barking up so many wrong trees.
That Harry Potter
I
shirt
love
looks
the
like an
irony of
Abercrombie
these
and Fitch
animal
shirt for a
jokes.
lady.
So
Well,
great.
it's
Look at it.
awesome. So
It's
It's just got like a baby deer with the words "always" underneath it, but it's written in like shitty hand painted like acrylic writing.
It makes so much fucking sense if
No,
you know what it is.
I know what it is, and I get the reference, but it looks so much like it should be in like a mall store.
I'm gonna put you in a
That's
mall
not
store.
Hot Topic.
That is like the best comeback ever. I'm gonna put you in a mall store.
Thank you. I just thought of it. I'm so fucking witty.
So yeah, it's the my life is a cat now apparently.
You want to know what my life is? Well, you're
Yes.
out adopting cats.
Yes, I didn't adopt it. Well, I may as well have.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
So I come home from work Friday night.
Oh yes.
And, go into the kitchen, get like a bottle of water, a bag of chips, whatever.
Go
Kitchen's
into
fine.
the kitchen with a bottle of water. And that's okay, sorry.
You
almost
good?
had it. You could
No,
have kept going. You
but
should have
I'll
kept
let
going.
him
Get it out of your
I
system.
would have edited in like a fat rap beat. You could have just kept going.
So, I
That'll be
mean,
the bonus feature. for us
Exactly.
fans.
the kitchen's not the cleanest it's ever been. So, like, 2 days ago, I threw out all the old pizza boxes and, like, shit. It's
It really
basically
wasn't
just, like,
that bad.
our trash can's basically full, and that's
Yeah.
the extent of it. The counters could probably be wiped down, but it's not bad.
Yeah.
Dishes are mostly done, yada, yada, yada. Kitchen's fine. Get a bottle of water, bag of chips, go to fucking bed. I wake up Saturday and go down to the kitchen to get a bottle of water.
And a
Walk
bag
into the
of
kitchen,
chips.
turn the corner, 50 fruit flies everywhere.
Oh.
I could not fucking believe my eyes. I was like, oh my god, it's like walking into fucking
A cloud.
a cloud of flies. Oh my god, it
Yeah,
was the
those
worst.
are they're the worst.
Yeah, they like find something to latch onto and then they just, I guess, multiply immediately.
Yeah.
They are
So
flies.
I was like, well, fuck, I gotta fix this shit.
Yeah.
So my first instinct was, all right, throw out the trash immediately because there's something in there that's like attracting them. But of course, there's like 50 fruit flies over there. I'm like, I'm not gonna.
I literally have to walk through the swarm to get
Yeah.
to the
Protective
source.
lenses and a
I
bandana.
think I've mentioned it on the podcast before, but Tess might not have been here. I am so beyond freaked out by bugs.
Well,
Wait, I thought it was
I
just
am
like
too.
No,
spiders.
just
All
bugs in
bugs.
general.
Okay.
Yeah, bugs are freaky. I
Fruit flies
understand.
are fine in small doses, but if there's fucking 50 of them, I'm like,
That's
oh
no.
god,
That's
my
when you
skin's
literally
crawling.
just stand there and just clap your hands together and just murder the fuck out of them.
That was my initial attempt. Was I took my slippers off my feet and started to slap them around. I'm like, this isn't fucking working. They're so crafty. And of
They're
course,
dodging my
I'm
slides.
trying to just hit the fringe of them because if I get like right in there, I'm gonna have them busting like all over me
Yeah.
and flying into my ears and shit, like,
yeah.
like those beetles in the Mummy. You know? So like, okay, shit, I'm not getting to that trash can yet. I've got to find a way to clear these fuckers out. So
Best way, by the way, to do that, I've seen this happen once. Get one of those like air cannons.
I just spray.
No, just like literally like you could aim it at a person and it feels like they
Oh, you
get-
mean like the air zookas?
Yes!
Yeah.
You gotta get one of those. You just see the cloud go because they can't dodge air.
well, no, see that was my first go. Was I got both of the fans we have here, the
Nice.
big tower fan that's usually down here, and this tiny little window fan that I've got. I just stuck them in the kitchen and plugged them both in and just started blowing towards them. And this, of course, I guess the thing with fruit flies is they're not that bothered by wind, but they can't really land when they're in like a
Right.
cross breeze. So none of them were like sitting on things anymore. They all just took to the air and started like, oh god, this might have made things worse.
I've dug my own grave.
They've been activated.
So I'm thinking about it. I'm like, okay, I could get like a bowl and like fill it with honey and like I don't know. I'm losing my mind here. And then finally, I'm like, oh shit, my vacuum has like that little tube extension
Yes.
on it.
Yeah.
So I pull my vacuum in there, plug it into the kitchen, and just start swinging the fucking tube around, sucking up every goddamn fruit fly I can see, like
That's
sucking them
awesome.
right off the cabinets, off the
Oh,
fridge.
that's
They're
great.
like sitting on every part of the kitchen. I finally suck up like most of the fuckers.
That's
Grab the trash bag and just immediately take off to the dumpster with it. Throw it out. Throw out every other piece of trash I can find around the kitchen. And then I do more vacuuming for like 15 minutes, really getting whatever I can. And then by that point, I can see maybe like 5 or 6 still
Yeah.
floating around. But I'm like, I'm fucking done.
Whatever.
I've battled the beast and survived.
That's awesome.
So
Can we make
I,
that a short film?
That would be so
yeah,
cool.
man, let's fucking
That's
do
the
it.
whole. You don't even need
Flight of the-
dialogue.
Flight of the Fruit
You might
Flies.
even just
Yeah,
like
boom,
a
right there.
Yeah.
or a
Yeah,
I'm done.
You could make fruit flies with half decent CGI.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Or you could just
Or you can
put
just do
out
a
a bowl of
cartoon.
honey and
Yeah.
and
attract
get some
fruit
real
flies.
fruit flies.
Yeah.
So I go to work Saturday night and I come back and it's dark, so I can't really tell if there's still any like around. But
Right.
it seems to me they're mostly gone. Wake up Sunday, go back down. There's nothing in there. So there was something in our trash that was just setting these fuckers off. I don't know what it was.
Was it that whole box of taquitos?
No, man, because those are in the freezer.
I didn't know if you were reading her
Safe.
text. Or...
Oh, okay. I was-
So
so it wasn't the whole box of taquitos that you ate.
no, and I didn't eat a whole box. I just thought about it. I ate half a box.
Then I'm disappointed in you.
I know I could have gone the distance, but
You could have gone the distance.
I had to go to work later, and I didn't want to walk around like a tumbleweed. Just ate fucking 50 taquitos or whatever.
Wait, you had a 50 box?
No, it's a 25
Yeah,
box.
I was like, I wish they made 50 taquito boxes.
That's a totally different story, though, man. I'm trying to talk about fruit fly.
I'm sorry,
Apocalypse.
I'm sorry.
I have a similar, almost similar story. In our basement, Sparky and Mitch have
Oh,
in
yes,
that
yes.
basement.
There's no room to, like, you bash your head on anything
Oh, I know.
in there.
You
There's
die.
a lot of stuff.
You
It's got
die.
nothing on this one, right? I mean,
No. Well, it's about, they're
None
a
of us
little
are
bit
that
bigger,
tall.
but their
It's a little
ceiling
bigger.
is much lower.
Yeah. But it's for a while there. I don't know how it happened, but we had like a huge housefly problem. We had a bunch of houseflies.
It'd be even worse.
Yeah, it was, and like I'd go down and
Those
there'd be
make sounds.
yeah, well, right, and they were like
They're bigger.
and they were big. They were like
Yeah.
much bigger than like the
I hate
normal
those things.
housefly. And I remember just getting so frustrated, and I grabbed a can of Raid and I just like sprayed, and they all like thump, 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 and they all hit the ground. And I was like, I feel kind of bad.
I was literally like one step away at one point from just like running to
Yeah.
the grocery store, grabbing like a huge can
Oh,
of
yeah.
spray. Just
Yeah.
like, time to kill the environment at the expense.
Yeah, no,
That
I
was my
totally. I
comfort.
was just like sitting there
Because
spraying.
I'm gonna nuke these motherfuckers.
Yep.
So I decided sucking them into a vacuum seemed more environmental.
So I just picture you like swinging
That's a
around
good
like,
idea.
"Ah!"
I don't know what I would have
Just
done.
screaming.
I don't know what I would have done if I didn't have that. Like I don't know how I could have gotten them out of there.
See, I totally, I
Either way.
didn't even think of that. I should have done a vacuum with my bug problem.
pretty
That would have
good.
been perfect.
I
Like,
mean, it was a little tricky because they're really tiny. So like,
Yeah.
if one gets away from you, you kind of lose track of it for a second.
yeah,
You're like-
right. Like, where'd you go?
So I got- I
But
got
they're also
one.
so tiny and weak that you only have to get the vacuum within like 6 inches of them.
Yeah, and it's like,
And then it's
no.
like just go straight in. They're
It's like their
totally
version
fucked.
of a black hole.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, it was really cathartic when I could tell that it was working because I was like, this is great. You fuckers have been torturing me for like half an hour. I'm ruining you.
I'm winning.
I am God in your puny kingdom right now.
It's all right. Along the lines, we had a couple houseflies around the house.
Just a couple.
Just two.
By a couple, I mean maybe like
But
7.
goddamn were they annoying.
So I got, I had my raid and I'd gotten rid of most of them, but you always miss at least 1 or 2.
Yeah.
course.
And,
And
if
so-
you miss one, they multiply.
Yes.
Somehow.
So
They're like
I'm sitting
asexual.
down.
Yes.
I'm sitting down and watching the stories on the Netflix, and there's just this one that just keeps flying near my head because I know it just wants me to like swing at it and then hit my face.
Yeah.
Ah,
Like that.
like that. So, but because my raid is in the other room,
You're like, it's so far away.
so I'm trying to like clap at it and like catch it with one hand. So my roommate comes home and he just sees me just watching, and then suddenly like
Like grab it at the air.
grabbing at the air like there's a butterfly, and he just kind of goes, "What are you doing?"
Wait, is that Whitey?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's my best.
I can
That's my
hear it.
best
I can
impression.
That's a good Whitey
That's
impersonation.
my best impression. And I'm like, there's this fucker running around my house.
I can just see him saying that with his mustache.
Yeah. As he twirls it.
Oh
He
yeah.
twirls it.
That was almost the best part of this whole thing was I could tell how fucking absurd I looked for a little bit there. Thinking this how you like swinging around my kitchen. It's in our kitchen. We don't even have blinds on that window, so like
Yeah.
anyone can just look in. We have a very pretty neighbor. And I could
Yes.
picture it as I'm like sweeping up all these things. I'm like, she's gonna like walk out of her apartment and look into my window just at a glance.
No, no,
and see
no.
me just fucking waving around a vacuum. And
No,
you're
no,
like,
she's-
I live next to the craziest fucking people.
She comes out of her apartment with the sole intent of knocking on our door to ask him on a date. And so she comes over and looks in the window and is like, and sees him like with the fucking vacuum. Just
I'm like
you
screaming
know what?
at them.
You know what? I'm good. I can do better.
Where's that other guy who lives here?
He's single. No, I'm sorry, he's not. Damn.
So I'm swinging at this fly, and finally, like, he sits down to watch. I think we're watching like Parks and Rec or Burn Notice or something. And finally, I just go like just with the one hand, and I grab it, and he just goes, "What's going on?" I get up and I run to the kitchen, and I just drown my fist in water because I know he's in there.
Yeah.
And he just kind of follows me slowly, going, "What happened?"
What you doing, buddy?
See, I would have thrown it at him.
It's like,
what
this is happening.
This.
So finally, he like gets into the kitchen, and I just open my hand, and you see it like just the twitch. And I'm like, I got him, and I threw him away, and he just gave me this. I'm proud of you.
I am triumphed over nature.
And even by this point, I was like,
It's like this primal.
The
It's like
adrenaline.
not because I was exhausted, I was just angry.
Yeah.
It's like, I got him. I got the little bastard.
That is what man was like in prehistoric times.
That's true. That was literally
And
that
primal need to just hunt and kill our enemies.
There you
Except
go.
it
You kind
was
of tapped into
always-
caveman a little bit there.
This too good?
Squash, tiny bug.
Give it like 4 days and you'd have the beard for it. I'm kidding. You grow hair so fast.
I know.
It does.
It would take me like a month to grow a half-decent beard.
Oh yeah.
It
I
looks
had to-
good, though. I like it.
I had the opportunity to grow my beard out for like 5 days straight because I went to St. Louis over the weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
Did you?
huh?
Did you?
Well, quote unquote, grow it out. It was probably the longest it's been in like a year and a half because usually I have to shave it about every other day
Right.
for work. But I didn't. I shaved it last Tuesday, and I only worked Wednesday and Thursday, and it wasn't long enough by the time I went to work Thursday, so I didn't.
Yeah,
bother.
I see what you're
So it had like, let's see,
You had
Wednesday,
all
Thursday,
this
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, 5 or 6 days to grow out. So it wasn't very long, but.
Still,
Saturday rolls around and Sonia realizes that I haven't shaved in a while, and she's like, "I like you with facial hair," and I'm like, "Get used to it because it's going away Sunday night." She's like, "No."
He like scoops it up, and she's like, "I'll always have the bag."
Yeah, it's fucking weird.
Does she not do that?
No,
Whoa!
Knocking over
this
your
is.
drink.
I can't help it.
Twice.
It's a
You
normal.
troll.
No, I caught it the first
You
time.
poured a lot into
It's a good
that.
drink.
Yeah, you
I
put a
didn't.
lot into that.
It's
yeah.
not like even halfway gone yet.
Tess, why don't you tell us about your greatest beard growing expeditions?
Yeah,
Sure,
let's see.
sure. Mainly what I do is I just.
You just
I-
force it
Yeah,
out.
I force it. Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Boy, that's
Growing
actually
like an-
exactly
that was
how
a
we
good
do it.
visual.
She's-
Yeah, you never see it.
I know.
It's
She
just
has great
Yeah.
insight into the male.
anytime a dude leaves a room, he's actually leaving to just force out part of his beard. He just has to push really hard.
You just go and like get your like tools and grab some pliers and you
Yeah,
just
you
pull it. It doesn't come out, but it like grows.
It
Yeah.
just gets
Yeah,
longer.
exactly.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
We can't actually like pluck our hair. It just
No,
grows.
it only
But
grows.
it is funny right now. It's because I live with 3 boys, as I think all of you know. I live with 3 boys, and 2 of which I know. I know.
Scandalous.
I know. It is
Mercy
just-
me.
It's just.
Got the
I
fetus.
know. It's just. I have to say it. It's just all kinds of scandal.
Yeah,
but
It's
it's
a
funny.
fucking accent party.
I know.
We all slipped like the
We all-
southern
we all
like
just
bell
switched
accent.
to
Southern Belle.
Yeah, I'll switch to a southern accent. I just want to wear my swishy dress. That's one of my
Y'all come
improv
back
friends.
now.
Y'all come back now. And who wants pie?
Oh man, I'm sorry, but we have to pause.
Yeah.
Chris, this is a while back. Chris sent me one of those videos that's like shit blank shit blank
Something
says.
says.
Yeah, and it was shit Southern women say, and it's like 9.5 minutes long. And I was like, Chris, I'm not watching this. And he's like, no, you have to because I know you understand at least half of it. And I'm watching it, and there's 4 different women who are doing this,
Okay.
and they're all just.
It's meant to be funny.
Yeah, and it's meant to be funny.
Yeah.
And they're all just saying shit that like Southern women say, like funny short phrases.
Right.
And one of them keeps saying shit that the only time I've ever heard her in my life is my grandmother. And she says it all the time. And my grandma doesn't have like a Southern accent, and she never lived in the South. She's just lived in like Southern Missouri her entire
She's
life.
got a southern
Sometimes
soul.
She has a Southern soul, and I'm watching this like, holy shit, I thought it was just my grandma.
Now, what did she say? What's this
Oh, I don't
expression?
fucking
Oh,
remember.
I got so
There's,
excited.
there was no, it was like everything this one woman kept saying. So it's like a fuck ton of stuff.
Alright.
But I'll show it to you afterward.
You might have
tonight.
to.
But yeah, anyway, continue your.
No, I 2 of my roommates, my 3 roommates, are growing out their beards.
Nice.
And it's just like, I don't know why, but it's like one of them did it, and so now the other one's doing it, and it's just like.
That's how it
No, it's like a
That's
battle.
how
It's like a weird chain reaction, and it's just funny to me because it's like they'll talk about their beards and how one of them's like, "Well, my beard's curly, so it's actually longer than yours." And I'm like, "It
Like
doesn't
anyone gives a
matter.
shit.
It doesn't matter." And then it's like, but then it's like, then one
Of
guy's.
course it matters.
yeah, apparently, yeah, it does.
I
Well,
It always matters.
I have never in my life been afforded the opportunity to like grow a beard, and it infuriates me because like my facial hair grows really slowly, so like I've never really gotten a glimpse of like how it could come out. I'm like, just one of these times, I wish I would like take a job where I could just have any amount of facial hair I wanted, because I just want to sit this thing out and see how much beard I can get. I don't think I can do. I honestly don't think it would be that great, but I want to know. It's like the greatest unsolved mystery in my life. It's like, how much beard can I accumulate?
It's what I told Sonny whenever she was like, no, I don't want you to say it. And I was like, well, whenever the podcast gets me money, I'll quit my job and I won't have anyone telling me.
Whenever I get a job not serving food to people,
exactly,
I will grow out my hairy, filthy face.
No one gives a shit.
But see, I've seen in some food service environments where like you can have like a hairnet.
I'm not wearing that.
I've seen those.
I've seen some.
You seem to
weird.
be.
It'd be cool if you could just like wear a bike helmet.
I mean, I don't know.
Our coworker has he wears the beard.
He does. His name is Pat. He's this
Pat.
old Irish guy.
Oh, it's
Of course he's Irish.
yes.
He's a pirate. You know that, right?
He's a pirate.
He's got the pirate.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
He's like a pirate.
He goes home and there's a parrot that goes, shiver me timbers.
Does it have an Irish accent?
Potato.
So, what do you mean he's a pirate?
Coworkers have mentioned this before you, and I have mentioned to people, and then we all agreed, yeah, he's like a pirate. They're like, Pat, he might be like a pirate. Like, he does remind me of a pirate.
Oh, like his surliness?
Yes, his surliness.
He's a very surly man.
Yes, he's a very surly man.
Going along that, I have a buddy of mine that I just started calling the shaman.
Oh, God.
Because he is kind of a shaman. Like, I was doing a play with him.
Did he take you on a spiritual journey?
Almost!
Did you climb?
We had this really good shit, you know?
We were in rehearsals, and one day I just woke up, like I slept on my arm wrong.
Yeah.
And so it was just out of whack. I must have dislocated it or something happened. I don't know. It just was hurting the whole day. And I mentioned it as relief. He's like, oh, hold on. Come here 1 second. I'm like, okay. And it's like, ow! Oh, it feels so much better. And he's like, yeah, I was a masseuse for like 4 years in Chile. And I'm like, whoa.
Way to bury the lead.
So it only gets better from there. So then, like, we start up the show, and he just goes, gentlemen, we have about an hour before we're going, so we're all relaxing. Would any of you like to have some mate? Which, like, is this South American drink. It's mostly kind of out of this, this enriched kind of dirt.
Drink it out of a skull?
You drink it out of this really cool pot, and you boil it, and it's really healthy, and it has caffeine in it. So we were all woken up, and like our stomachs were warm. So we're like, this is awesome. Does this have liquor in it?
You drank dirt.
Essentially.
That's gross.
So then later
Shaman!
on, I come in later, like at a different day, and all of us have like I guess it was just a bad phlegm day, so all our throats are gone. And he just goes, guys, hold on, I got just the thing.
Of course he does.
Flips up like his
brew a
poncho.
potion.
He's wearing a poncho.
He's required to wear it for the show, but this was his
Sure
from
is.
home.
Sure
Oh my
is.
gosh.
So
This was his home poncho.
Are you sure he didn't put that in his contract that it was required
They
for
must
him to
have
wear this
known.
poncho?
I don't know. So he just goes, hold on 1 second. And he comes back with like this little vial of this just liquid.
I wouldn't drink it.
What is this?
No.
And he just goes, this is sunflower extract with a little bit of cayenne pepper in it.
Nope.
Awesome.
Not drinking
What
it.
is it? And he just goes, you do a little bit in the back of your throat, it'll burn, but then you'll be fine for the next like 4 hours.
Nope.
And so all of us, by this point, we're just kind of like, okay.
It worked last time.
Because he's the nicest guy who happens to know like every cool thing ever.
It doesn't matter.
He's the nicest guy ever who could
This is a
have
strange-
easily poisoned all of
A
us.
strange man has offered you a mysterious oil with pepper in it.
Yes.
And you're just going to be like, you know what? Let's do this. I'm game. No, you don't. You say, no, kind sir. I do not want to put this strange liquid in
But
my
Jake,
mouth. Please leave me be.
Jake,
See, I
he's like a
totally
shaman.
would've done that.
He's like a shaman.
He is
though,
like a
Jake.
shaman.
I had two things.
I hear
in response
shaman
to
and all I
that.
hear is hippie.
The first one was, I've gotten to know him pretty well over this
Yeah.
show. He's a good guy. He wouldn't do this. And second, I didn't go first trying it.
I wasn't that
I want
guy.
you to know that.
That's
I watched
the thing.
others do it.
Don't do
So
it unless you've
finally-
seen someone else pull it off.
Finally, I see it. I'm like, all right, whatever. And he's like,
That's-
you ready? And I did
then
it,
you
bit in the
woke up
back of my
murdered.
throat, and I was like, that's really. I feel better.
That's really cool. I don't
So
know.
he-
To me, that's cool.
So I just looked at him like, man, you are totally a shaman. And he goes, no, I'm not. I'm like, well, think about it. You have these bizarre cures for everything. I feel like if I hung out with you every day, my life would probably get longer. And he just goes, I guess I am a shaman. That's
That's
saying he
beautiful.
will be
Yes.
upgraded to witch doctor if I ever see him like chanting.
Oh,
And
okay.
He left the show the next day to pursue a life in the Himalayas.
He did. He now is a monk.
Well, he kind of disappeared from theater for about a year, and then he's just kind of like, "Hey guys,
How you doing?
Himalayas.
Himalayas. He
I
liked to be
believe
one
it
with
was-
himself.
He lived in the
Funny.
Grand Canyon. Yeah, I don't know.
Why would he live in
I don't think he did, but like just as an example, he could probably
Oh,
be
okay.
like, "Yeah, I lived once in the Sahara for a year. I didn't go to a supermarket once."
I don't understand.
How do you do that?
Like, we're joking, but people do that, and
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't understand how or why.
Yeah, I mean, not to the degree that you, but I mean, to your knowing your shaman. But I met a girl like last year. She would go hitchhiking, and like
Yeah.
one huge leap of faith. You know, you're not going to get
Especially if
someone
you're a girl.
who's, right, especially someone who's like not going to kill you. So,
Basically
yeah.
asking to be raped.
Right, but
And
Or at
or
least
murdered.
attemptedly.
Are
Right,
you
but
saying
she
the girl's
would-
asking to be raped, Jake?
No, only if she's going out hitchhiking from dudes.
Okay.
well, she would go.
Strange dudes.
Well, she would go hitchhiking. She'd go traveling, and it was just amazing. And she would go do that. But then not to mention, she would only like have like a backpack. She wouldn't.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I don't know how she made money. I have no idea how she would get food. But she traveled the whole country doing that. And I think she's back on the road again. And I'm just like, why? What's like? Some people who can do that. And she's so laid back. She is a total hippie. Like if
Oh,
you
yeah.
met
Yeah.
her, you would have been like hippie. Ah.
Like fucking hippies.
Yeah, because like I remember like one of her tattoos. She showed it to me, and it was just like a triangle of orange, and she was just like, I was tripping on acid. And that's why.
And
I
I
got
was
it."
It's just faith in Cherokee.
Yeah, no, it's like,
like,
no,
no, it doesn't.
no, it's not even that. She's like, it's the color orange. I was tripping on acid, and that's what I wanted to put on my body. And I was like, okay, okay. And it's like, I mean, like I would say like I'm into that like Eastern, you know, like holistic, you know, folk remedies. I like that, but that when you go that route, I'm
That
like,
one's a bit
that's a little
bizarre.
too. That one's a little too much for me.
Okay, so
Deep
it,
breath.
it might be
Yeah.
because I've just grown up to kind of, I've been forced to accept this idea that if I ever want to actually have money to feed myself and get the things I want, be it, you know, like stereotypical capitalistic like technology and shit like that, or anything
Yeah.
at all,
Right.
I'm going to have a job that doesn't let me do that kind of shit. And then I see people like that who get away with it somehow.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how? And they're just like, oh, you know, I just go with the flow. And I'm like, fucking,
Whatever that means.
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's
How
because
are you even
they
doing
don't
it?
have like the material needs that you and I have. They don't have the compulsion to have like Cool Runnings on DVD. Like
Brandon,
like-
you're not Brandon, you're Andrew. Andrew, I don't have that compulsion.
maybe not for Cool Runnings, but like
I don't love Cuba Gooding Jr. that much.
Cool Runnings.
I was
Sorry.
I was in Target today and I felt the I saw the 10th anniversary edition of a movie that I already own and I almost bought it.
What was it?
Love Actually.
Oh, okay. Well, in fairness, Love Actually is fantastic.
It's so good. It's one of my like top 5, no joke.
Yeah.
But yeah, bring on the hate mail, bitches. Whatever.
If
I
someone's
don't care.
hating on Love Actually,
I'm not laughing about that. I'm laughing about this sentence. You're
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's one of my top 5. No joke. I love
Like,
that.
I understand.
I love that
I understand
better.
it draws my masculinity into question. I don't give a shit.
I just
Sometimes I just
love
want
that
to see
sentence.
Hugh Grant and several other British actors and actresses be super charming and make me cry for 2 hours on Christmas Eve. Okay, that's all I ask.
I like it.
Anyway, it got released on 10th anniversary edition Blu-ray, and I'm probably gonna buy it.
because you need Love Actually on Blu-ray.
Yeah, I
For
do.
all that
I love
high
it.
definition
Top 5,
explosions.
dude. Dude, I have Clerks on Blu-ray. I have Clerks.
Yeah, but that's Clerks.
If there was ever a movie that did not warrant a Blu-ray release, it is probably that one. Because, yeah, sure, it's funny as hell, but it's also probably the worst looking and sounding movie I've ever watched in my life.
No, that's
Maybe
fair.
not true. I watched Troll 2.
Oh my god.
So, along with Clerks, has any more word come out about Clerks 3?
And
He's doing Tusk.
he's still
right now.
working on it, but he's developing a movie called Tusk right
Can
now.
I explain it? It's the best.
Okay.
I will defer to you, despite the fact that I am the resident Kevin Smith.
That's true. It should be noted before I say this that all things Kevin Smith typically come from Andrew. Okay, so Tusk, it was developed, quote unquote, on an episode of Smodcast, which
Okay.
is Kevin Smith's main podcast that he does with his friend Scott Mosier, who also produces a lot of his movies.
Smith Mosier podcast.
Yeah,
Smodcast.
Smodcast. So they were just bullshitting around, and there was a news story that I think.
How are you
I think
not a teacher?
it was.
I could teach, but I hate kids too fucking much.
So teach college.
I actually, not to stray too far, but I did like a semester of tutoring kids for A+ in high school, and I tutored like third graders, and I was actually surprised how well I handled it. I was like, I typically hate
I
children,
didn't murder
but
a
somehow,
single child.
for some reason, I'm okay with these kids. These kids aren't awful, but I don't think I would ever be cut out as a teacher.
Yeah.
I'd have to be like a college professor probably, because I mean, children are awful and annoying. Middle schoolers are the goddamn devil.
They're awful.
High schoolers don't
Yeah.
give a shit about anything. I don't want to deal with any of those people.
Sorry. Anyway.
Okay, so
Yeah, go on.
Sorry, I think it was Kevin Smith that found the article, but there was a news article somewhere that a guy was in he had been trapped in a walrus costume somehow. Like he'd been sewn into it or something, but they had to cut him out of it or something. I don't know. Anyway, so they start just bullshitting about this news story, and he develops this idea for a guy who is forced to. Oh no! I'm sorry. I'm entirely incorrect. It was an ad for an apartment person, and it was like a typical ad that was like 2 bedroom, 1 bath. This is how much rent is, whatever. And then there was a stipulation at the bottom that said something along the lines of. Also, once a month, you will be required to wear a walrus costume.
If you live there?
If you live there. Like, if you were going to be this guy's roommate, he would need you to wear a walrus costume all day for 1 day a month or something like that.
That's
because he just really liked walruses, and he wanted to be around one. So they started bullshitting about this news story, and they developed this idea for a movie where this guy... I got them switched. This guy is forced to wear a walrus costume, and he gets stuck in it, and it's like a horror film.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
It's like 148 hours, except more extreme.
Exactly. and it's I have to see it because it's the first. Like Kevin Smith has famously always said that he has about 10 movies in him.
Oh yeah.
And Hit Somebody, which was his hockey movie that kind of got ripped off from him because another group of people made a movie called Goon, which was basically...
I've heard of Goon.
Yeah, it's basically the same story.
Okay.
So I think he kind of put that one away.
In the vault.
But it's the first movie he's come up with since he's been like a filmmaker, I think, that he really is moving forward on because he really wants to make it.
Cool.
And I saw Red State, which was his first horror
We all
film,
saw
and
Red
it's
State,
so
yeah.
fucking good.
I love Red State.
And I confidently believe he can make a horror movie about a man trapped in a walrus
Does he hear
costume.
who he wants to play the guy?
No, who is
He
it?
wants Justin Long.
Oh, man, that would be...
Oh, I would watch the shit out of this movie.
I would like
That sounds
that.
awesome.
I've actually got a potential casting thing while we're on that subject.
Is it about Ant-Man?
It is about Ant-Man.
Oh my god, did you hear that? Oh, well, I'll let you explain it first, then I'll say the thing.
Well, all I know is I heard 2 names bandied about recently that are rumored to be in talks for part, and that's Joseph Gordon-Levitt
Nice.
and Paul Rudd.
The thing was that Marvel released a press release saying that they had 1 meeting scheduled per each person.
Okay.
And it wasn't about, like, they didn't say what it was about. They just said that they were going to meet with each actor one last time, quote. And
I thought I heard they were doing something with Katie Sackhoff about that also.
probably
Possibly to be...
Wasp, maybe.
No.
I don't know.
She's really big in comics right now. Is it
Use
Miss
words.
Marvel? No, not Miss Marvel. She...
Nobody likes Miss Marvel.
Captain Marvel. No one...
That's a dude, though.
It's a girl now. And would look surprisingly a lot like Katie Sackhoff if they ended up doing that. Anyway.
Anyway,
God.
Sorry.
JGL came out. I saw that early this morning because I think that's when it came out. But Joseph Gordon-Levitt came out and was like, "Guys, I'm not playing Ant-Man." I didn't read the actual article, but the headline was Joseph Gordon-Levitt admits that he's not playing Ant-Man.
I saw that too.
So-
He said like he wasn't in talks to do it or whatever, but it's like people say that all the time.
Yeah.
Right.
So I wouldn't necessarily rule him out just because he's like, I'm not doing it. But at the same time, I like him for that. But
Yeah.
that's probably just because I like him in general.
I like him in
would do,
general, yeah.
Paul Rudd's a bit more of an interesting
I'm
choice.
interested.
He's
yeah.
it would be a very outside the box role for him
Yeah.
because he's usually just kind of a witty buddy
He's
comedy
a
kind of
character
guy.
actor. Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean that's all I heard. I was just wondering if either of you two had thoughts on it as more
I'm
resident
more
comic
interested
guys.
by the idea of being in Paul Rudd.
I'm interested in the film in general because of Edgar Wright. And
Yes, that was the biggest reason why I was excited for it.
Because I geek out.
I would love to
dudes.
see Simon Pegg make some kind of cameo in it.
Oh, well, I'm sure he will.
I mean, he wasn't in Scott Pilgrim, so. I mean,
That's true. But either way, though, just
those two are not attached at the hip necessarily.
Yeah.
But it did.
I remembered the other thing I was going to say. I read one article that it was the only article I read about the initial announcement that they were supposedly in talks for Ant-Man. And the article started with, the headline was something like, Marvel wants your opinion on who should play Ant-Man, just for Leonard Paul Rudd. Because the idea is that they released this press announcement being as vague as possible to gauge the reaction. And apparently most people sided with Paul Rudd. Like the internet sided with Paul Rudd.
That's actually really interesting,
Yeah.
considering that the internet is generally in love with Joseph Gordon.
Yeah. But the thing that I thought was interesting that you'll probably appreciate is that the article started with one sentence by itself, an orphan sentence, and it said, the correct answer is Adam Scott. And I actually think I would be pretty okay with that.
I love Adam
Like from
Scott.
Parks and Rec?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
As Ant-Man?
Yeah.
Cool.
Also, Party Down. Did you ever watch Party
I
Down?
need to.
He's
I
I really like
fantastic.
Party Down is so
I really
good.
like it.
It's
I
so
love-
good.
I love Party Down.
Yeah.
But
Good.
I think
would
he
love
would
to
be,
see him in the Marvel
Yeah, I think he'd be
universe.
great in that role.
Because-
that could be big for him.
That could
He's
be
still
awesome.
basically a TV
Yeah.
actor. I mean,
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
and
he's been in some like a movie.
Well, yeah, but it's
Yeah,
mostly
but-
smaller stuff.
Right,
You know, he's never really had like a
That would
huge
be awesome.
film.
and you have to note that Joseph Gordon-Levitt is like this. He's not necessarily a serious actor. I mean, fuck, he just did Don John, which is like a
Really
sexual
wanna see
comedy.
it.
Yeah, but Paul Rudd is a very comedic actor. They're kind of two sides. They're very different, but they're both extremes. Adam Scott is this delightful combination of both of them, where he can, and that's what Hank Pym is. Hank Pym isn't a very funny character, but he has funny moments. Not like Reed Richards funny, where it's like the Big Bang Theory kind of funny, where like, haha, you're a nerd,
Yeah.
whatever. No, Hank Pym can legitimately be funny.
Well, and that really fits Adam Scott
Yeah.
to a T because
Right.
in Party Down especially, his whole shtick was basically straight man. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's surrounded by this cast of absolute loonies in Party Down.
Yes.
And that's what Hank Pym is.
He's basically there to, he's the Jim Halpert of Party Down.
Yes, that's a good description. Yeah.
Jim Halpert is like my perfect straight man because
Yeah.
all you think about is when like the guy who glances to the camera and like, are you seeing this? Like,
Like, I'm not the only one, right?
So, I mean, that's basically what it was in Party Down, with the exception of a few moments where he kind of goes over the top. But he's also a really funny guy, and you see a lot of
Yeah.
that in Parks and Rec.
Oh yeah, and he's mostly a straight man in that too.
Yeah,
I mean, he has
yeah.
his moments,
He's
but-
a more normal guy, again,
Yeah.
surrounded by a few more extreme characters like Ron Swanson and
Oh.
Tom Haverford and all these
I love
people.
Ron
But
Swanson.
I have been
so
ever
much.
since I've been marathoning it. Ron is like,
Ron is without a doubt one of like the 10 best characters on TV.
I
right
love.
now.
I've actually like looked up his woodworking shop that he owns. Like,
Yeah.
Like
he added
Nick Offerman.
he added a
Yeah.
lot to that. Like the actor added a lot to the character.
The craziest thing about it is like Nick Offerman basically is Ron
Yeah.
Swanson. If you see him like in
he's not
interviews and
quite
shit,
as like extreme.
but he's just a total man of a man.
Yeah, he is. Well, except for sometimes. Like sometimes he's admitted that I forget who he's married to, but
He's married to the woman who plays his Tammy.
Megan
Is he?
Mullally.
Okay, Megan
Yes.
Mull- yeah.
Also in Party Down.
Apparently,
Good.
her and their daughter, or maybe she's Megan Mullally's daughter, but the two girls, they have like a band that they tour with, and it's like acoustic. Like I think they play mandolins or something.
Nice.
Yeah.
And he's admitted that sometimes he'll get up there and he'll play like a banjo or a mandolin.
I know
with
he
them,
can actually play
which is-
saxophone.
Yeah, which is just
Dude,
also
Silver.
that is
Yes.
so fucking good. Oh my
Badass.
god.
But anyway, I found like his website for his woodworking shop, like in LA.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, look, and they have like bios of everyone who works there, and like two of them are like his uncles, and then like a bunch of just younger people are like, this person got their start doing carpentry work at this time, and I'm just looking at like their catalog, and they're like, this is generic stuff we make, and this is like Old Bertha, our canoe that we
Old
made
Bertha.
last year, and it's like beautiful, and I'm like, I want to go there so bad,
Just to see
just to be like. He was here. He works here.
my two favorite Ron Swanson moments before you do it. I saw you with your hands.
No, there was a fruit fly. I was gonna
Oh, was it?
eradicate it. But it's I lost it.
Whatever. So
Whatever.
My two favorite Ron Swanson moments are I think it's episode 2 of Parks and Rec, the second episode ever. He has a hernia. And he
No,
gets
that's the
it.
second episode of season 2.
Is it? Okay,
It's
yeah.
so good.
He gets a hernia like as soon as he sits down, and he's like, if I don't move at all, it doesn't hurt. And so he spends the whole episode just sitting perfectly still in his chair. And Aubrey Plaza, what's her fucking name? April, yeah.
Those two together especially.
She figures it out about halfway through the episode, and near the end, he's sitting in his office just staring at the wall, and she's like, all right, well, Ron, I'm gonna go home for the night. He's like, okay, I'll see you later. And just sitting there, and she turns off the light, she moves a step to the right, and just goes, just in place, like she's moving away. And he's like, you're still there, aren't you? And she's like, I really just wanted to see if you would move.
My favorite gag in that whole episode actually is when she gives him his lunch, and he's
just
sitting
throws
perfectly still, and he holds this hamburger in his hand and like looks at it for a second, and then with a flick of his wrist just tries to throw it into his mouth, and he totally misses. It's one of the better bits of physical comedy I've seen. It's really, really good.
So the first one is that, and the second one is, it's a less funny moment, but it's really like, it's really touching.
Yeah.
There's an episode where Amy Poehler's character and Ron Swanson get into an argument because Ron Swanson firmly believes that the Boy Scouts of this universe
I've seen that one.
should just be boys, just because that's like how he thinks. Whatever, he's not like sexist about it. He just thinks he wants to be boys. And Amy Poehler is like, yeah, well, I'm going to make it all-girl Boy Scouts. It's basically the Girl Scouts. And they just get into this huge argument about it. And at the very end, Amy Poehler has like learned some lesson about something. They both have. It's very touching. But she creates, I think they're called the Swansons or something.
Yeah.
And it's like non-gender biased, but she puts an ad in the paper for it. And it's like, if you want to learn how to like survive in the lot, it's like really gritty, like outdoorsy survival shit. And he's just standing in front of this group of like 10 kids, so proud, and he's like, all right, we're gonna learn how to make a tent. And they just goes, and it's very touching.
One of my favorite moments is it's like one of the Christmas episodes, and this is already after like he's talked to the Amy Poehler character, and it's just in his office. And he just goes, every year I give Leslie, the character of Amy Poehler, he just goes, I give her what I give everyone, a crisp $20 bill. And Leslie every year gives me something very thoughtful. It makes me furious. This year, she went above and beyond, and he pulls out like this little like key, and he clicks a button, and his doors to his office close, and he just looks at the camera and he goes, she installed it over the weekend. It's so beautiful.
I really don't want to just turn this into like the Ron Swanson Appreciation Hour, but I've got one I also want to put.
That's fine.
They're having some big festival barbecue thing, and he's got a pig with him that he's going to literally butcher and cook on the spot. And some park official comes up to him, he's like, you can't just butcher that pig here, you know that, right? And he's like, it's okay, I have a permit. And he hands the guy a piece of paper that just says, I can do what I want, Ron. It's fantastic. His character is so anti-authority, which really makes the fact that he works in the government, like, really...
Alright, we need to move away.
Yeah, I'm sorry that I
Watch
did this.
Parks and Rec!
That's really the plug here.
Shout out.
Watch Parks and Rec.
Well, Jake, speaking of Pat at work.
Oh yeah, we need to go back to that because Pat is, oh god.
Have you ever seen his grocery list?
No, but you've told me about it, and it's
okay,
fantastic.
okay.
He doesn't do this anymore because
No,
he
he
had a heart episode. It wasn't like a heart attack, but it was like a
heart episode.
Yeah, I don't remember what it was
No,
called.
I get
But
Oh, he still
anyway,
drinks.
yeah, he doesn't do this anymore. But apparently, before it happened, Brandon, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. We were looking at his. He goes to go take his breaks, and he left his shopping list like on his book. And every week, every Sunday, we look at it, and it's always like the same 4 things on top: whiskey, cat food, milk, bread. In that order.
Whiskey and cat food come before milk and bread.
In that order, every single week.
I don't really know about the cat food, but just the fact that whiskey is always at the top of the list really brings it all
just
together.
to paint you a word picture here, Pat is about 5'5", but he's like fat, but he's like burly fat.
Is he like a
He's
dwarf?
stocky.
No, he's very stocky,
Yeah.
like old Irish man
Yeah.
stocky. And he doesn't have a beard, but he has the bushiest mustache in the world, and he has to wear one of those little mustache guards because he won't shave it.
They wanted to shave it so bad.
Yeah.
He refused to shave
Our
it.
manager just like yelled at him a bunch of times. He's like, no, just give me the little mustache hairnet thing. And he wears that, and he's got glasses, and he just, when he breathes, he does this. He goes, like every time he breathes. and he hates everybody. His one job, like he sometimes helps at other times, but his one job is to make sure the salad bar stays clean. So he'll just stand there leaning on the counter, watching the salad bar for like an hour. And anytime anyone comes up to it, they can be clean, like as perfectly clean as possible, but they spill one fucking thing. He's like, son of a fucking bitch. And he just goes out and he's like, I don't come into your house and throw shit around. And that's not even exaggeration. He like says that.
He actually says that.
Like out loud in front of customers.
And does he still have it?
I don't know. It baffles me, but he's so just. He can be nice when he wants to be. He can be nice to customers.
Yeah, he's good with kids actually. He's very good with kids.
Yeah, kids fucking love him.
Yeah.
But he's just so abrasive.
Can you get this guy on the show?
I do not want to on this
No.
He's fun to talk about.
I have so
but that's
many
about
questions.
it. So many questions about his life.
He legitimately seems like a fictional character the more you get to know him. He seems fake, but he's actually
real.
a real guy.
He's a real person in this world.
That's phenomenal.
But yeah, he accidentally ordered 4,000 hair or beard nets the other week. So if you want to grow
Would you
a
say
beard,
accidentally?
well, he wanted like a box, but apparently a box is 4,000 beard nets.
Wow.
So we have 4,000 beard nets now.
Oh, rad.
So if you
All
want
right,
to grow a
cool.
beard out,
Can I just like wear one?
you could probably ask
Like,
me.
even
you could,
without a
like,
beard?
handful.
Okay.
Yeah.
I asked. We recently got because it's my voice is going out a little bit. It's breast cancer awareness month, so we got pink hats and these buttons in. And we didn't get as many pink hats as we had employees because our manager runs the deli and the bakery. Mm-hmm. So all told, he has maybe like 15, almost 20 employees underneath him, roughly.
15.
15,
Maybe,
yeah.
yeah.
So we only got like 5 or 6 pink hats, and he told me, like jokingly, he's like, because I was being a smart ass to him or something. He's like, don't make me make you wear a pink hat. And I was like, wait, we have pink hats? And he's like, yeah, but I gave them all away. And he was like, Steve, why? I would have worn the shit out of a pink hat. And they're awesome. They're like pink hats, and they say they're the healthy ones hats, right?
Yeah.
We got a new brand of meat in, and it's like healthy ones, which is, by the way, a brilliant marketing campaign.
It's a great name.
Because you're like, the person's like, oh, I like some roast beef, and you're like, oh, would you like this one that has nails in it, or would you like the healthy ones? It sells itself.
Yeah.
So,
Nails, you say.
Anyway, so he has these pink hats,
What
and
year?
we ran out of pink hats. And I asked Steve, I was like, Steve, can you order more pink hats? And he's like, I'll look into it. And like 3 days later, he's like, so, Jake, I called the company that sent us the pink hats, and they said that they would have sent us more, but they're out of pink hats.
Aw.
And he's like, how did you run out? And because he said that he asked if it was just like a limited run or if they just were out.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, we actually had too many orders. So we had them orders backlogged, and we had to make more pink hats.
Fucking everyone wants a
Nice.
pink
Fucking
hat.
everybody wants a pink
Nice.
hat, and they're the raddest hats in the world, and I want one. I don't even like hats. I just want this pink hat so bad.
I literally only wear hats at work or when I'm too lazy to shower and I need to cover my horrible bedhead.
Yeah.
Because if there's one thing that is like definitive about my existence is that I somehow have the worst bedhead of anyone in the world.
He does.
Really?
It's awful.
He'll come out and he'll have like JBF hair, even though I know he has not been JBF.
It's fucking unreal, dude. The only times when I don't have awful fucking bedhead are the nights where I got like no sleep at all.
Because he basically didn't lay in bed.
Yeah, I guess if I only get like 4 hours of sleep, it doesn't have time to properly coalesce or whatever.
I'm waiting.
But man, if I sleep so fucking well, like the other night when I slept like 12 hours,
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god, dude. Fucking crazy as shit.
I'm waiting for the day he comes out of his room and the side of his hair is like stuck perfectly up. So he has, I don't remember what show it's from, but it happens in some TV show where someone comes out like in the middle of the night and they've been sleeping on their side. So all the hair on one side is just up and flat.
It's definitely been like that a few times.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it might have been like that at some point in this apartment. You're just never fucking here.
Yeah, I'm
So,
not. Well, you guys talk about, I want to figure out how many days I've actually been here since we moved in. I have to do math though.
yeah.
I remember our
So-
friend Jared.
Well,
in
you
the
average
dorm.
2 days a week.
Okay, yeah, and so I'm
So-
gonna figure it out. So you talk about that.
Do you guys remember our friend Jared from the dorms?
Yeah. Well, actually, he's Sparky just ran into him the other day.
Oh.
But
That's
go on.
Yeah. Anyway, I remember like just seeing him like when we were in the dorms. We had the major league big conjoined bathrooms or whatever for our hall, And I'm walking back, and Jared, like, I just finished a shower, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to turn in, and Jared's, like, right behind me. And Jared has pretty long hair, and then he's wearing, like, one of those snow caps, like, one of those thick, like, just...
Tundra hat.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, very big, and I'm like, what are you doing, man? It's like, we're still in, like... It's boiling in this apartment. Why are you wearing it? He's like, oh, because if I don't sleep with this, my hair will be, whoa! Like, that was his definition. I was like, all right.
Fair enough.
He actually lives like right over there.
Yeah,
Nice.
but
No, I thought
the way he
got
just
interviewed for the
shooting.
for the shooting, yeah.
Apparently, the
And
way
he said exactly
described
what I
it-
thought he would say, which is like, yeah, I heard it.
Yeah.
It happened right there. Yeah.
So the way he described it to me when I saw him at the gas station was, if you walk out your door, turn left, and start running, you'll run into my front door. And I was like, thanks, Jared. You're the best. Anyway, so we've been living, well, we, quote unquote, have been living.
I've been living here.
Andrew's been living here. I pay rent too, but I'm never here. Our names have been on this lease for 2.5 months, and I've been here 20 days.
Wow.
I've slept in my bed 20 times since we moved.
So less than 3 weeks.
That's
less
like
than 3 weeks.
Almost a month, but not really.
I know.
So I guess
It's
if
not even 3 weeks.
anyone wants to live here 5 days of the week,
You're more than welcome. Like, I'll clean my fucking room. It's not that messy. It's mostly just
if
clothes
you ever
and
need a
beer
place
bottles.
to crash, you should probably consult me.
Yeah.
Well, like when Mark was in town a couple weeks ago, I basically told him, I was like, you could probably sleep in Sparky's bed. I
Yeah.
don't think he'd care.
Yeah.
Like,
And he texted me.
he ended up sleeping on the couch anyway, but I'm like, there's no fucking way
yeah.
he's going to be here tonight.
Exactly.
You might as well crash at our place.
He literally texted me like, I wonder if I still have the text. It's something like, so hypothetical question, because apparently that's how people ask me for shit. They always start with like, so I'm not actually saying this, but if I were to say this, how would you feel?
Oh, well, good, because I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, he
I'm
said,
now on Jake.
what'd you say?
That's all my questions here for the question form. They're only hypothetical questions. So hypothetically, Jake, if I asked you to clean the hot case tonight.
No, I'm not going to play it.
Hypothetically, if I were to kill your family, how would that make you feel?
What would you say if we bought a cat?
What?
Hypothetically,
No, okay.
Look at that.
I'm
Look at
glad
that.
your agreement because we
Look at that
No,
callback.
I found
That
it.
was
I found
beautiful.
it. Okay, so he texted me at 1:24 in the morning,
Nice.
and he's like, "You coming home tonight?" And I was like, "Lol, not tonight," because it was a fucking. I don't know, it's probably like a Thursday or Friday or something. He's like, "Cool. Can I sleep in your bed?" And I was like,
I can picture it.
I mean,
really easy.
"If you want to." And I told him like that my room was a mess and my sheets hadn't been
Yeah.
washed in like a month or whatever.
Not like that matters because you never used them.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
it's more like they haven't been washed in 2 weeks.
And he's like, it was the most like non-committal thing too, because he was like, it's cool. Andrew said you wouldn't care, but I wanted to ask. I'm not sure if I even would with permission, but you know.
Fantastic.
And the best part is even like the entire time I've been really like okay with it, like yeah man, do whatever you want. I'm not anything.
Yeah.
And Mark being Mark is the most apologetic man in the world.
Oh, yeah.
So like the last thing he says is the very last thing he says to me is, all right, thanks, man. I don't mean to be like all up in your shit or anything. And I was
That's
like, Mark,
totally him.
it's
That's totally
okay.
also him.
Just fucking sleep in my bed.
We need to get him in
We do.
It'd be great if you
Shout
did
out
that
to Mark.
sometime. Shout out to Mark's mom.
He listens to it, I believe.
Does
So
he?
shout out to Mark's mom.
I
don't think she
love
listens
Mark's
to it.
mom.
So
She's like the nicest woman in the world.
what else? We're starting to hit near the end here. What else does everybody have to talk about? Like last things. Anybody have to plug anything?
I got my plug out of the way.
I found this out today, and I got to talk to one of the directors about it. If you are in Springfield, Springfield, Missouri, this pertains to you. They are starting up auditions. If not auditions, they've at least announced. We have 5 new live shows that are going to be coming up. They will either be Reader's Theater or hopefully not. And that is
Ah, yes.
that is the only reason they're Reader's Theaters is so we can avoid certain copyright issues.
Yeah.
They are for Buffy the Vampire Slayer. They're going to be re-auditioning for that soon because several people.
So in.
I'll do it.
I have no experience, but I'll
This has
show
been
up.
going on for like 4 years now. Like they've been doing this
Yeah.
for a while, but
It's a pretty big
They've,
show, too.
Yeah.
They've just moved the Skinny Improv too.
yeah,
so.
they've just moved where they're
Yep.
performing.
Nice.
But they're doing that, and along with that same company that's going to be doing Buffy, they have a new show coming out that is essentially going to be the Adam West Batman.
Yeah, and the nice part,
Yeah,
I'm
yes.
going to be on the writer group for that.
You're going to be in the what?
Writer, I'm one of the writers.
Excellent.
Yep.
One of the 12,000 writers.
Oh yeah. Well, apparently it's the Midwest Electric Pleasure Show. They're another podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Did you say the Midwest Pleasure Show?
the Midwest Electric Pleasure Show?
Man, how did they get to that name before we did?
Oh my god.
I know. It's a good.
God damn it. Now I wish I named it then. Son of a bitch. All right.
What could have been?
Oh, wait.
Well, that's the group that's they're writing
That's
it.
them.
So it consists of like myself, Curtis Harrington, Matt Bose, Andrew Mihalovich, Ty Lewis.
What a last name.
I know. He's a hilarious comic too. Lynn Hughes, Jackie Parker, and did I say Ty Lewis?
Yes, I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Awesome.
Well, he gets repeated twice because he's worth it.
Because he's worth
But alongside those two, a different theater company that used to work with them are also doing 3 shows. They are restarting back up Star Trek, because they did Star Trek for about a year and then there was problems. They've recently announced they're doing Star Trek The Next Generation,
Rad, the better one.
and probably the one that most people are interested in, Firefly, The Brown Coat Experience.
Rad.
They're finally getting
They're
that.
finally
awesome.
doing- they've been in
that's
talks
awesome.
About
These
doing...
people are really pandering to me right now.
yeah, they've
Shoving
been,
Star Trek
yeah.
aside.
Yeah.
they've been in talks about doing Firefly for about a year and a half ago.
Yeah, I was gonna
I
say.
was very briefly part of the project.
Mhm.
That I did not want to be part of the project because
Oh,
at the
okay.
time, me and my roommate Will, we were the busiest we had ever been. We had like 18 different projects going along, plus our classes and student teaching were just ridiculous. And because they're friends of ours who were working on it, they kept on badgering us. They're like, look, people have been dropping out of the project.
Yeah.
We need you guys. And we're like, okay. So we just said yes. And so for
As
about
like a reflex.
well, we finally were like, fine, we can't
Yeah.
come to a lot of rehearsals. And they're like, that's fine. And so because we agreed, very briefly, my roommate Will was Simon, the doctor, and I was, oddly enough, Mal.
Why?
Because of my personality.
Like,
I thought I would be Badger.
you're too funny to be Mal, though.
Thank you.
Like, Mal's funny, but he's not,
Thank you.
like, the leading funny
Right.
guy.
Right.
Like, you would be better as, like,
I'd love to be
Maybe
like,
Jane?
Maybe Jane. The
I
guy we
can see
had,
you pulling off
the guy
Jane.
we had as Jane would have been a better Jane than me.
Yeah.
I was honestly gunning for Badger
I can see that.
because obvious.
Yeah.
but,
or maybe
um,
even Shepard.
Maybe even Shep. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
But anyway, the project got canceled because they never had a rehearsal and there were all these problems. And then like the only script that I found was literally the script for the first episode.
Yeah.
There weren't like jokes added in.
No.
It was. I just said, well, if this is what we're performing, why not just watch the show?
Yeah. Like,
But-
it's the same fucking thing.
Apparently, the project's getting restarted. I don't know when they're going to be auditioning, but they're hoping.
Look on the internet,
I will
probably.
be there.
Look on the internet. You can probably find something about one of those 5 shows.
Can I audition with a
Puppet?
They probably will
book
let you.
soliloquy?
Probably.
Nice.
I mean, it would probably be like cold readings, if anything.
Or what about a comic book monologue?
See, I've done that. They'd
If
probably
they-
again be fine for it.
Oh,
Did
okay.
I tell you what I did for a monologue once?
Wasn't it the Batman one?
Yeah, I did the Dark Knight Returns, the Jimmy Olsen ad. Like,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
not even part of the comic, but
Yeah.
I did that as a monologue. And my
That's actually
teacher,
pretty rad.
my teacher initially was this is called performing lit, just for
Yeah,
under
yeah, yeah,
5
yeah.
second story. I did take an awesome class with an amazing teacher who kind of because I was a teaching major, she let me kind of have more free reign to do whatever projects I wanted to.
Yeah.
And so she's just like, all right, you need to try and do a monologue from something that is not from a play or a movie. And everyone was like, oh, cool. And so I looked at her and I'm like, can I do one from a comic? And she goes, I don't know, would it work for this? And I'm like, yes, it's school appropriate. I can make it that length.
Mm-hmm.
I think I can make it work without you having to know too much about comics. And she goes, all right, try it. And so I performed it, and she goes, all you guys need to be doing this now. And I was like, yes, thank you.
Well, isn't there some, don't most professional places not allow that kind of shit, though?
Yeah, well, I mean, the whole point of this was trying to explore performing text that is not in that
Yeah.
format.
Well, like, why wouldn't they accept, like a monologue from a comic book? Like, why wouldn't they accept that?
I don't know. A lot of times there's a lot of stipulation because there are a lot of really good movie and TV show monologues.
Yeah.
That like,
That
for
you
example,
can't
there's a Breaking Bad monologue by Mike. This is one of my favorite moments where he talks about
half
like
measure
it's
one,
the
isn't
half
it?
measures.
It's so
Yeah.
good.
It's
oh my
such
God.
an awesome monologue, and I was loving it. And by the time it ended, I was mad, going, "I will never be able to perform this for an audition."
No one will let me.
I know. Because the minute I say it's from a TV show, they'll all go boo. And I'll be like,
No,
"What?"
why do they? Why?
Yeah, it's just kind of a weird thing. I've heard if like I'm auditioning for like a TV show or a movie,
Then you can
I
do it.
might be able to.
Yeah.
Like they'll have bigger leniencies, but a lot of
If
people
the-
with plays, if it's not from a play, they kind of just they frown on it normally. I don't know why. That's just
Fuck
kind of
them.
a stipulation.
There's other good literature that isn't plays.
Exactly. But
Whatever.
anyway, that's my plug-in for.
Yeah. What were you talking about before that? Oh no, you were done with it.
I'm done. Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else? Anybody else got anything?
Get
Brandon?
your plugs on the
Oh
table.
wait, we should address something. Brandon, I meant to do this in the beginning of the episode, but thanks for joining us this week. Yeah, you made it back.
Not a problem.
You actually he even showed up at work right before I got off, and he was like, "Hey, buddy," and I was like, "Oh, so you're gonna be at the podcast?"
Awesome.
Okay, it's good to hear.
Show now is being
Yeah.
committed.
You actually, yeah, real committed.
I'm so committed to this podcast.
Stepped up to the
Exactly.
plate.
He came to play today.
Came to play.
So that's probably it for this episode. I did want to say one last thing before we end.
Me too.
If you're a listener and you or someone you know animates in any way, shape, or form, have them or you yourself contact the work in progress email at workinpodcast@gmail.com because I need to talk to you about something that may or may not involve pay. That is to be decided. But yeah, shoot us an email. I'll have the email in the description for this episode too. That was like the get up and get ready to turn it off.
Oh, okay.
Once
fine.
again-
You weren't like paying attention.
Hold on. Once again, we are.
Workinpodcast@gmail.com.
And your name is
Jake.
Andrew.
Mitch.
Brandon.
Tess.
And we will see you guys in a couple days. Bye.
Bye.
Rate, review on iTunes.
Bye.
Maybe not.